हाँ जी, क्या हाल है? So guys, this is my first video of the 30-day revision video challenge in which I'll be revising all the key concepts. Acha, with this video, there's also a worksheet which you guys need to attempt after watching this video. I will also provide the solutions of the worksheet, and I'll also be making a solution video of the worksheet for those who struggle a lot even after looking at the solutions. Okay, so topic for today, which is the first topic, is accounts for expenses and incomes. Okay, so if we talk about the expense account, so the expense account, any expense, whether it's rent, whether it's electricity, general expenses, any paid expenses for which you make a payment, the account should look like this. Okay, so in expenses we can either have prepayments or we can also have owings. So like at the start of the year, if there is a prepayment, so what we do is we write prepaid brought down on the debit side because it's an asset and we have overpaid last year. So we begin with a positive balance here. Okay, and if there's a liability which is owing, so you write owing brought down here on the credit side. It's very possible that you have both in one question, or it's possible that you only have either prepaid or owing. Then whatever we pay, we record that on the debit side as bank or cash, because this payment is recorded as a credit in the bank or cash account. Okay, and then similarly, if there's a prepayment at the end of the year, that goes here as prepaid carried down, and if there's an owing at the end of the year, that goes here as owing carried, and that way you have your income statement value, which is the aim of making this account, can be calculated through this. So you can have all of them in one question, or it's possible that starting में prepaid हो, end में there's an owing, or starting में owing हो, end में भी owing हो. So that depends what the concept is, that since prepayment in an expense is an asset, so it always has an opening debit and a closing credit balance, and liability owing is a liability, so it has an opening credit and a closing debit balance. Another way to look at it is that whatever we pay, we record that as bank. So the prepaid brought down has to be added because it was paid last year for this year, and it is not included in my payment of the bank. Similarly, owing carried down is something which is not paid yet, but it is for this year. So basically the debit side is, this is all this year's side, and whatever is not for this year has to be subtracted. So just like owing brought down is not for this year, it's for last year. Prepaid carried down is for next year. So technically this is a plus and this is a minus. So that's how I look at it. And please make sure in the question, in the exam I mean, you bring down the prepaid as prepaid brought down, and you bring down the owing as owing brought down. Okay. Similarly, our income account works in complete opposite manner. Now why is that? Because income has a credit nature, so it has a plus here and a minus here. And in income, if there is a prepayment, then it's not an asset, so it doesn't go here. If it's a prepayment, then it's a liability. Why? Because we have received money in advance, so we have to pay it back. Similarly, if it's an owing brought down, then it's an asset because it means we have to take money from someone. And whatever we receive is bank cash, that goes on the credit side of the bank account, of the income account, or on the debit side of the bank account. Your owing carried down, since it's an asset, has to come here, and your prepaid carried down, since it's a liability, that comes here, and then you can find the income statement value from here. Okay, so these are the two accounts. But now, what are the key things which you need to remember in exam? Okay, so sometimes what examiner will do is he will not give you either bank or cash, as in वो आपसे आपको ये नहीं देंगे, you will have to find this, but they'll give you income statement. But how will they express that it's income statement? What they'll do is they'll tell you that charge for the year, or expense for the year, or expense for the month was 2200. So for the year or for the month if you're making a monthly account, for the year if you're making a yearly account, means the income statement. So if both for incomes and expenses. Other than that, what you also need to understand are a couple of things, like if examiner says that the payment has to be done quarterly in advance. So इसका क्या मतलब होता है? What does this mean? Quarterly in advance. Quarterly in advance means that you'll be paying a 3-month payment at the start of the quarter. So like if your year is starting in January, so in January you will pay for Jan, Feb and March, and then in April you'll pay for April, May and June. In fact, this will be like 1st Jan and this will be like 1st April. An opposite thing is also quarterly in arrears. Now, what is quarterly in arrears? Quarterly in arrears means that the first payment will be done on 31st March at the end of the quarter for Jan, Feb and March. And then for April, May and June, the payment will be done on 30th June. Okay? What do you mean by monthly in advance? Monthly in advance एक पागल बनाने का तरीका होता है उनका, because if they say monthly in advance, then that means you're just paying on 1st January, you're paying for Jan. So at the end of the month, there will be no prepayment, no owing, because you're just paying for 1 month in advance. Even 1 month in arrear means at the end of the month, there will be no owing because you would have paid that. Okay? Unless you're paying next month. So, one more thing, and then there's a couple of points in theory which I need to discuss. One more thing is, sometimes a lot of questions come where you have to calculate the monthly rent. So for example, if I tell you that at 1st January there's a prepaid of $700, okay, and let's say we make the payments quarterly in advance, okay, and we pay on 1st Feb, 1st May, 1st May, June, July, 1st August, September, October, 1st November. These are the payments we make. Now, if at 1st Jan there's a prepaid of $700, that means that prepaid is only of 1 month. Why is it of 1 month? Because whatever we pay in November is for November, December and January. So at 1st January or at 31st December, whatever you've paid in November, उसमें से 1/3 is still left. So if that 1/3 is still left and it represents that it's 700, then that would mean that rent of 1 month is also 700. But if I change the payment deadline and if I say no, हम payment यूँ करते हैं 1st March, April, May, then 1st June, then 1st September, and then 1st December. This would mean whatever I pay on 1st December is for December, January and February. So at 1st January, if I have a prepaid of 700, then that would mean this represents 2 months of rent. So my rent per month would become 350. Okay. Other than this, what else do they test? Other than this, you need to know that हाँ कि payments में rent increase भी हो सकता है या कोई भी expense increase हो सकता है. So like if you're paying, like let's say in this case, if I come back to this, now if 700 is 1 month rent, that means every payment will be 2100, 2100, 2100, 2100, unless they say that, you know, from August or from November the rent has increased. So then you will apply the increased amount. Okay. Okay, now the theory part. So if they ask you why do we have to adjust for accruals and prepayments? So why do we have to adjust for accrual and prepayments? The main point is that if we don't adjust, our profit will be unreliable and it will be not correct, because accruals and prepayments से होता क्या है, you only take for the year. जो चीज़ यूज़ की होती है उसको लेते हैं, जो चीज़ नहीं यूज़ की होती है उसको प्रीपेड कर देते हैं, या अगर पे नहीं किया होता तो ओइंग कर देते हैं. So that way the profit you get is realistic and reliable, and even your balance sheet, it represents the true financial position, because if you paid someone in advance, that's your asset, and if you don't adjust for it, then your assets will be understated, or sometimes your liabilities will be understated. So it's very important to adjust for accruals and prepayments. Why? Because उससे हमारी income statement भी legit रहती है और हमारी balance sheet भी ठीक रहती है, या statement of financial position भी ठीक रहती है. तीसरी बात, it also helps you compare your accounts with others, because others are following the accrual or matching concept, right? So if you don't follow it, your accounts become not comparable. And then the accounting standards and regulations also state that, you know, all the accounting concepts have to be followed. So it's really important to follow the matching concept or to account for accruals and prepayments, because in theory they might ask you this. They might also ask you that what is the advantage of a double entry system, because I don't know why they mix this in these questions. Usually it's a topic for correction of errors, but advantages of a double entry system are like it reduces the risk of error. You know, when records are kept for each account, it provides useful information, because then it's easier to locate the errors and trace the errors. Okay, so that's all I think you need to know. Other than that, if in MCQs, if you can like solve the MCQs, they're conceptual, and sometimes you have to make the T account to figure out the expense amount, and sometimes you have to, you know, like MCQ में एक चीज़ ये बहुत ज़्यादा होती है, which I wanted to discuss now, is that like sometimes, see, what you also have to understand, if I tell you that in my account, like let's say there's a rent account, okay, and there's a balance of 700. Now if I say that I'm paying 3,000, but out of that 3,000, 1,000 is for next year. So a lot of people make this mistake that they write 2,000 here and then 1,000 here. That's wrong, because if I'm saying that I've paid 3,000 and out of that 3,000, 1,000 is prepaid, so you have to write 3,000 here and then 1,000 here, because you pay the 3,000 and then you deduct the 1,000 from here as prepaid, carry it down. Okay. Other thing is, sometimes in MCQs they say like this, like let's say if I tell you that my financial year is ending on 30th June 2012. Okay. Now what they can do is they can give you like a table जिसमें सारी पेमेंट्स लिखी हुई हो. ठीक है. आपका फाइनेंशियल ईयर एंड होता है 30 जून 2012, मतलब ये स्टार्ट होता होगा जुलाई 2011 को. ठीक है. अब अगर मैं आपको बोलूँ यहाँ पे मैं अमाउंट लिख दूँ और यहाँ मैं लिख दूँ पेड फॉर 6 months जुलाई 11 till December 11. ओके. और यहाँ लिखा हुआ है लेट्स से 3,000. फिर अगर लिखा हुआ है पेड फॉर 9 months फ्रॉम January 12 till September 12. Okay, and then this payment is like let's say 5,000 or 4,500. Okay. Now if he says how much, और फिर नीचे भी एक और पेमेंट दी हुई है like let's say from October 12 till December 12, and like let's say that's whatever 1,800. Now if he says what will go in your income statement, so you have to see what payment is paid for what time. So whatever is in my year will be counted. जैसे July till December is in my financial year because my financial year is July till June 12. So ये मैं पूरी पेमेंट लूँगा. But out of this I will not take full. I will only take 6 months because only 6 months are from this year. So that's why I can only take those 6 months payments. So I will do 4,500 divided by 9 multiplied by 6 to get the amount. And if I just get that, then I'll know 6,000 will go in my income statement. Okay. बाकी हमें अकाउंट बनाना होता है और वो करना होता है, तो I think you should be able to solve them. Try the MCQs, try the worksheet, and if there's a problem then you can check the solutions and also the solution video. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow now with a day 2 video on bad debts and provision for doubtful debts. Thank you.